Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I haven't posted since like August. I got caught up with school, but for today's video we are gonna go over all of my eyeshadow palettes because I have a lot. So let's get started. On top I have the Nudes Chocolate palette by I Heart Revolution. It's a cute little nudes palette. I really like the shimmers in it. They blend really nicely. I've used it a couple of times. Next, the dog wants to come inside. I haven't used this one at all. I think it's limited edition. That's why I got it. And I love Jessica Rabbit. Although I've never completely finished Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I should really do that. So, in this palette, it's like mostly, oh, there's the lighting that's interfering. It's mostly purples and neutrals. Packaging looks like this. It's really cute. We love our Jessica Rabbit girl. All sexy and stuff. Then I have the Jackie Aina palette by Anastasia? Beverly Hills? And of course, like a lot of people on YouTube have been covering this one. With the purples, more neutrals. There's this blinding one, Trust Issues, that's just, it looks like pure white, but I promise it's a shimmer shade. It's just stunning. This is my first Anastasia palette and I've wanted one for so long, and I finally like crumbled a couple months ago and got this one, and I'm so excited that I did. And of course I have the e.l.f. J Kissa palette with all of their rainbows. I can't really tilt this one because my purple shade right here, the purple shimmer shade, like crumbled when I got it. So I'm just gonna gently kind of turn this towards you. And of course, I had to decorate mine with the dogs because I love dogs. I love dogs. They're so cute. They like brighten my mood if I'm having a bad day. And then my first ever Morphe palette. This is my first ever palette in general, but my first ever palette, this is the 9B Bronze Babe palette. I haven't used this one in a while. I probably should because the colors are like so nice. You get 4 shimmer shades and 5 matte shades, and you can do so much with this. This is what it looks like. Next, I have I wanted the first Soap X Revolution palette, but I never got it, and I don't know where to find it now. So I have this Soap X Extra Spice palette with Revolution that I can't open. There we go. And the shade 21 calls my name, but I never wear it because it's such a bright, like pinky red tone. Sorry, I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. Such a pinky red tone that I don't know what to do with it, but I love it. Next, I have the Revolution X Rachel Leary palette, Goddess on the Go. I haven't had the chance to use this. I find that the Rachel Leary formula, I can't swipe it and then put it on my eyes. I have to like pack it onto the brush and then put it on my eyes, and they're a bit chalky, but I do love them. Kind of. I don't love them, I like them. There we go. I bought them, I like them. I haven't had a chance to dip into these highlighter shades either. I feel like they're either too light for me. It looks like a bronzer, a blush, and 2 highlighter shades. That's what it looks like. I have swatched them. The Goddess shade right here looks amazing. I have to wear this soon. have to put the protective covering back on it. Sorry, I had to scratch my nose. Then we have the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette that they had over the summer of 2020. I believe it was 2020. I can't open these. Edit this out. Okay. The e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette that they had in the summer of 2020. I got this because of the blue shade and the green and the purple, but I've noticed that they haven't really shown up on my eyes since I have a deeper complexion. Is that a navy blue? I might have to play with that royal blue. The next palette that I have is one by Revolution again. It is the Chilled palette with Cannabis Sativa. It's a lot of neutrals and greens. The shade Acapulco. I know how to say that, I promise. Acapulco and Goddess are the shades that I love, that I love the most out of this palette. So this shade right here is Acapulco, and this one right here is Goddess, and I find the most use out of those two shades. The next palette that I have is Nubian, the Nubian 2 by Juvia's Place. This is I have another one. I have this small Nubian, but I forgot to grab that, so you'll just have to take my word for it. And I have been meaning to dip into this nice, I wish the lighting was a little bit better so that you could really truly see, but the shade Egypt, it's a nice green. We have to play with that one day. They're so pretty. And the shade Zuri, it's a nice bright cream color. Next, I have the Morphe X James Charles, the mini palette. And a lot of people have the regular palette. I chose to get the mini one, as it was both cheaper, and I realized I wouldn't ever use the big one if I got the big one. So this is what it looks like. I really use this shade for the more neutrals, but I do like to dip into the brights every once in a while. I know the black and the white tend to be very pigmented. I bought this palette for the yellows and the oranges because I tend to find that yellows and oranges, my skin tone just eats them up, and I love yellows and oranges on me, on my skin tone. One second. Next, I have the Revolution X The Emily Edit palette. I find that this is also like the Rachel Leary palettes, where I have to kind of like pack my brush before I put it on my eyes. Ooh, look at that lighting right there. But this one has a lot of purples and pink tones and a couple of more neutrally tones. There is like 2 greens, Grateful and Side Hustle, that I find to be really, I don't want to say appealing, but appealing is the only word that I can think of right now. This is what it looks like. You can see my dining room chandelier, which is the only lighting that I have right now. Next, I have another Revolution X Rachel Leary palette, which is the Ultimate Goddess. My dog's trying to get to me. I apologize. And this is a eye and face palette, which has 2 bronzers, 3 bronzers, a bronze glow, 3 blushes, and it looks like 3 highlighters. I really can't tell because they're bright yellow and bright white, but haven't had a chance to dip into this palette. But the shade Paradise, which is this nice aqua blue, is the one that I'm most excited for when I do ever dip into this palette. See, like, this is a bright, in person it looks like a nice gold, and this one looks like a nice, like, white, but this is pure white, this is pure yellow, but they still are pretty shimmery in the palette themselves. These two are the same shade. This one and this one, they're the same shade, so don't understand. Except one's a matte and one's a shimmer. Gotta put the protective covering back on. Next, I have the So Jaded palette by Kathleen Lights and ColourPop. I was so glad that I had got this. This is I believe this is my only ColourPop palette. And every time I try to get it, it was out of stock. Look at this beauty. There are glitters, there are shimmers, there are mattes. I've dipped into this a couple of times and I love the formula. Amethyst, that purple right here, is a dream. It crumbled a little bit when I got it because it's so soft, but it's a dream. Right, I only have 4 palettes to go. The number 1 is the 24A Artist Pass palette by Morphe. I believe this was a collab with someone, but I don't really know who. I bought this palette because of the bright colors on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th row. But it's mostly a lot of glitters. Like this row I don't find a lot of use out of because this is like a balm with glitters in it. But I bought it for this row initially. And then this is just a row full of glitters. And just like everyone else on the beauty scene of YouTube, I have the Revolutionary, I don't know if that's the right word, Jaclyn Hill #1 palette. Is that what it's called? The Jaclyn Hill palette by Morphe. And that's what I used on my eyes today to create this like coppery bronzy look. I love this palette. I believe this was my second Morphe palette that I got. Excuse me for 1 second. Sadie, get out of the kitchen. Sadie? So this is what it looks like. My next palette is the Jaclyn Hill palette volume 2. And I've dipped into this once, I believe, and I loved it. They're so buttery and they blended so nicely and the colors are so vibrant. This is more of like a warm tone palette with a couple of yellows. I also bought it for the yellow, but not just for that one yellow, you know. That would just be like a, I don't want to say it would be a waste, but it would be a waste to buy one palette for one shade, in my opinion, unless you love that shade. But you never know, some people do. I don't judge them. And then my last palette's gonna be kind of hard to show because it is the Morphe 39S in Such a Gem. Oh, I can show it. Would you look at that? Ugh. It's a big one. She's a big boy. I'm gonna have to completely cover up my face because I don't know how to flip this one upside down. I'm sorry. But this one has a lot of purples and shimmers. This is more of a purpley palette. Purples and pinks, which is my kind of theme, you know? Here's what this looks like. It's very pretty. And that concludes all of my palettes. Once again, I am so sorry for being away for so long, but I'll try to be more consistent with my uploads this time. And that's all for today. Bye guys.